able to do justice to make sure that I explain you what we are going to cover in this particular course overall. So my name is Ravi Gurbakshani, and I have like 7.5 years of IT experience. I am Cloudera certified Hadoop developer and Cloudera certified Hadoop administrator, and I'll be taking up this course for you. So let's get started. Let's have a small introduction of everyone, and let's quickly understand what each one of you is expecting out of the course. So we start with, I think let's go in a chronological order of name. So let's have Abhirami to start first. Hello, Abhirami.
Venkat.
Okay, so we have, so to start. Abhirami, can we start with you?
Hey Abhirami,
Okay.
can you give your small introduction? Aditi?
Okay, so Aditi's mic is not working. All right. Yeah, Aditi, just quick introduction of, kind of what you do and what you kind of looking from this course quickly would be great. And probably I'll share it with you. Okay. Okay. So Aditi has just started looking looking for Hadoop, and she's kind of interested and she's looking forward to learn this. Great. How about Aruna? Aruna?
Yeah.
Yeah, hi,
Can you hear me?
would be awesome if
Hi.
Yeah.
I'm actually in IT for the past 15 years. I'm currently working with the data stage and all, but I just want to look into big data and see how it is and learn more about that.
Okay. Yeah. Next we have someone with name B. Please go ahead. Yeah. Can we have an introduction? All right. What about Chad? Chad, can you introduce yourself? Yeah. Hello. Chad, can you introduce yourself, please? All right, we'll come back to Chad. Mohammed. Yeah, please go ahead and introduce yourself. Mohammed Naveen. Okay, Mohammed's mic is not working. Mohammed, you can introduce yourself on the chat. Okay. Okay, so Chad is 13 years experienced with in IT and looking forward to know Hadoop. Mohammed, 5 years experienced in BI. Okay. Naveen,
This is Naveen. Basically, I have 13 years of IT experience. Currently, I'm an master data consultant.
okay.
So probably trying to transition to the big data platform. Looks like it is growing market, so sort of getting trained in that.
Okay. And Mohammed, you're also looking for big data. Okay. We have next who's we have Pawan next. Pawan, could you introduce yourself quickly? Pawan, Raghu, anyone? Yeah.
Satish, this is Raghu.
Okay.
Yeah, I do have master data management experience for 6
Okay.
years and overall 13 years of IT. I know a little bit of Hadoop, but I would like to do some practical implementation working with you guys.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, Mr. Reddy. So we have Pawan, who's so Mr. Reddy is 9 years experienced on SQL and wants to transition in big data. Yeah, Pawan, please go ahead. Yeah. So Pawan is an IT professional with 5 years of Java and UI experience. Yeah. We have Mr. Sajin. Yes, Sajin, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, I have 6 years of experience in Java and Oracle. I want to learn Hadoop and want to have a good hands-on in it.
Okay. 6 years of experience in Java and Oracle. Wants to know Hadoop. Awesome. Great. Sandeep?
I'm mainly interested in knowing more about Hadoop, exploring the open source part of it. So from last few days, I started contributing to the open source part of it. I want to know more from this course how exactly Hadoop internals work and also the deployment part of it.
Perfect. Yeah. Sandeep Salian?
Yeah, hi, this is Sandeep, and I've been into IT for about 14 years, and I work primarily as an Oracle DBA and Oracle Apps DBA. So I wanted to get, how basically Hadoop works, how is it different from Oracle? So that's where my interest lies.
Awesome. Yeah. We have Sarma. Yes, Sarma, if you could introduce yourself quickly. Hello. Yeah, so if your mic is not working, you can basically put it on chat and I'll basically introduce you to the group. Srini, we can go ahead with you. Seems there are two Srinis.
Hi, this is Srini. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very clearly.
Good. I have 15 years of IT and I'm Oracle DBA for 12 years. So I wanted to understand what is Hadoop and what is the effect of this Hadoop big data on Oracle databases.
Okay. Okay. Then we have Mr. Sharma, who's 15 years experienced, mainly Oracle DBA, and really interested in Hadoop. Perfect. Yeah. We have, I think, one more Srini, and we have Srinivas Haridas. If you guys could go ahead and give your introduction, that will be great. Okay, so we have one more Srini who's 11 years experienced. In Java, wants to explore Hadoop. That's perfect. Yeah. How about Srinivas Haridas?
Hi, I'm Srinivas, and I have around 15 years experience in Oracle applications as well as BI, business intelligence.
Okay.
So I want to explore more into the Hadoop and then on the big data.
Okay. Understand big data and Hadoop. Awesome. Yeah. Sriram, if you could quickly have your introduction.
Hi, this is Sriram here. I have 13 years of mainframe and business analyst experience. Wanted to know more about big data.
Okay, great. Welcome. And then we have Tarun. Yeah, Tarun, please go ahead. So anybody whose mic is not working, just put on chat and I shall, introduce you. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead, Tarun. Tarun, you're not audible. All right. Tarun, yeah, it would be great if you could put your introduction, in the chat.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Venkat?
would like
Yeah,
to explore.
go ahead. Okay. So, awesome. Wanted to explore Hadoop.
This is Venkat. I have 10 years of experience in mainframes. I want to learn Hadoop and migrate to that technology.
Awesome. Vikas?
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yeah.
Because it is upcoming technology and it has a very big very good emerging technology.
Okay.
Yeah, Vikas here. So,
okay.
My idea is I have like 9 years of experience with Java,
okay,
and mostly with data warehousing products. So I learned to learn what is the Hadoop ecosystem, and hopefully if the training can help me to get certified, I look forward to it.
Sure. Yeah. We have Vikram. Yeah, Vikram, please go ahead. So Vikram has totally 7 years of experience into J2E and wants to know Hadoop. Okay, then we have Vint, and Vint has also introduced himself. And Vint has 7 years of experience and wants to explore Java. Wants to explore big data. Okay. So that's about it. Thanks for your introduction, and thanks for letting me know your expectations, and I'm confident that each one of you would basically have a very fulfilling experience in this course, because The course covers in-depth, topics which will help you get certified or even make you ready for the job to, explore opportunities. Along with that, we have a lot of hands-on. In fact, we have around a week's worth hands-on where we would do a lot of stuff on, writing programs and stuff like that. So I'll make sure that, each one of you gets to your goal in every possible way. Let's quickly start with what we are going to cover in this course. This course is going to be for 20 days and around 90 minutes to 2 hours per day, and it will go for 20 days. Now let's see what we are going to explore in this course. So day one, we start our journey with what is big data. We'll talk about why big data, is such a hot technology and or a domain, whatever you want to call it, and why should we all care about big data as a domain or a technology. We'll see some use cases. We'll see what are possible options of analyzing big data. We'll see what is Hadoop, how HDFS works, how MapReduce works. Then we'll get to the Hadoop ecosystem where we'll talk about what is Pig, what is Hive, what is Plume, Scoop, and what is Uzi. So after we are done with these two, we would jump into the hands-on. I'll be providing you a virtual machine and we'll be installing Hadoop on a single cluster. After that, we'll be doing a hands-on on MapReduce, Scoop, Flume, and then on EC2 we'll set up a multi-node cluster. So we'll buy 2 machines on Amazon and we'll start from zero and we'll go about setting up the whole thing on EC2. Then most of you, are like 15 plus or 10 plus or 7 plus experience you also have a part of your job in leadership. This is the class for you where you will decide or you will figure out how to start a Hadoop project from ground zero. So if you are at your base, how do you really go about setting up the Hadoop cluster, what all configurations you have to make and everything. Day 7, we've taken one MapReduce program and now we'll go line by line to understand how exactly you go about writing your MapReduce program. Then we'll go deeper into the MapReduce API. We'll talk about combiners, partitioners, distributed cache counters, a lot of it. Day 9, we'll go further deep into MapReduce and see how industry is solving a few common problems like sorting, searching, inverted indexes using MapReduce. So this is more like design patterns. Day 10 would also have the same. Day 11 and 12 we'll dig deeper into MapReduce and write a lot of code in MapReduce. Day 13 we'll get into other 2 technologies, Pig and Hive, and we'll explore what Pig and Hive is. And day 14 we'll do a hands-on on Hive and Pig. Then we enter last week of our course where we will first talk about advanced Hadoop concepts and then we go deep into the administration part of Hadoop. So we'll first go back and refresh what administration part was. Then we'll talk about how do you share your Hadoop cluster among teams. Then we'll talk about how to monitor your Hadoop cluster. And day 18 we'll talk about monitoring tools like Ganglia. 19th we'll talk about best practices of Hadoop administration tools of the trade. And day 20 we have a 50 question test. So where we'll have 20 questions on development front, 20 on administration front, and 10 on Hadoop in general. So this is how we'll go about this course, which will virtually touch everything that is out there, and a lot of hands-on will make sure that you get your hands dirty and you're all set. Any questions here?
This is Srinivas here, actually, if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Actually, the same question as I think somebody asked about that. Is it something which you like a certification kind of thing, or is it like general, like, give an overview and then?
All right. So as far as the certification questions are concerned, let's do it after the demo session. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, go ahead. What I would suggest is let's quickly first go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, the second part is basically, so this 20 days you're talking about is like, is a continuous 20 days program, or is it like, or is it?
No, there are no breaks. It will be start to finish. So 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. Basically, your Monday to Friday. For in India, it's like Tuesday to Saturday for us. At the stretch, 4 weeks. That's about it. No breaks whatsoever.
And the same timing, right? Or
yeah, timings will always stay same. So whatever gets decided as the time, 20 days it will be same time, no breaks at all. So at a stretch it will be 20 days. Yeah.
Okay.
So what I would urge everyone is, you guys can, whatever question as it comes to your mind, please put it on the chat box. As soon as we are done with a 15-minute demo, we will then revisit every question. So any question that is in your mind, just keep on putting it on chat. At the end, we'll come back to every question. We'll answer one by one. Okay? All right. So let's go to a small presentation. Let's do a small presentation on the Hadoop and Hadoop ecosystem. So in this brief class, we'll just cover a few slides, but okay, this is part of our first couple of days presentation. So in this presentation, we cover a small introduction. We'll talk about what is big data. We'll talk about what is Hadoop. We'll talk about Hadoop ecosystem. And we'll talk about HDFS and MapReduce. And we'll take up any questions that come over. So let's first talk about the objectives of this session. So I'll introduce big data to you. I'll introduce you to Hadoop, explain how Hadoop works, get friendly with HDFS and MapReduce, get aware of Hadoop ecosystem, and understand how Hadoop is used in real world. Small introduction about myself. My name is Ravi. 7 years of IT experience, 2+ years of corporate training experience. Cloudera certified Hadoop developer and administrator, and being certified on technologies like Java and PHP. So let's get into what is big data. I think the bigger question to answer is, why do we care about big data? Why it is so hot? Why do we care about it? And why we all have gathered here and blocking 1 hour of our time to be in this session. So why big data deserves our attention? Now, as per IDC, big data market will be a $24 billion market by 2016. So we are talking of next 3 years, this market is going to be as big as $24 billion. Big data would create 4.4 million new jobs by 2015. In next 2 years, you have 4.4 million new jobs. You've already seen new roles coming up like data scientists, data stewards, data architects, which were never existing before. And a big credit goes to big data. Now let's not talk about couple of years from now, but as of today, as of this very moment, United States a shortage of 200,000 big data professionals. So big data is really hot, and be it you being a startup, you being an individual or independent software vendor, or you being a guy who's just working somewhere, either ways, big data is your next ticket to the bigger opportunities. If you're a startup and want to look for a place where you can really, grab a big opportunity, big data is the area. If you're an individual who's really interested in a better career perspective, big data is the place to be. So data science, big data, Hadoop administration, development, data architect, all these new roles are, the place to be in the next couple of years. Now let's quickly talk about what exactly is big data. So big data is any amount of data that is beyond the storage and processing capabilities of a single physical machine. Okay, so even if you had all the money, the best hardware you can buy in a single physical machine is 64 gigabytes of RAM and 64 terabytes of hard disk. Beyond that, your hardware will start hitting the limit. But in big data, what we are talking about, that the tune of data is can anytime be like hundreds and thousands of terabytes. We can even it can even go to a petabyte. Okay, so basically one physical machine will never be capable of handling such amount of data, and that is why we call this data as big data. Along with the volume, big data has two more characteristics, that's called 3 V's of big data basically. So first is volume. Big data has amazing amount of volume. Second, in big data we typically talk about data that is coming from variety of sources. See, so far we programmed ourselves to see data in rows and columns only. But in big data we take this further, and we are talking about data that can be an XML format, can be a log file, can be a JSON format, can come from a Facebook post, can come from a Twitter post, can come from LinkedIn. So who knows? So the sources are tremendous, the amount of formats are tremendous, and the data that is getting generated at an amazing velocity. So take example of Facebook. In 1 hour, imagine the number of likes, clicks, and comments they get. The amount of data that gets generated in a day is like a few hundred terabytes at times. So what we really talk of big data, there are 3 characteristics: volume, variety, and velocity. So volume, really massive. Variety, data can originate from various sources and in various formats. And velocity, for data to be referred as big data, the rate at which data comes to the system is really, really fast. Let's crudely visualize what is big data. You have a physical server that is really nice, but the amount of data that it can process is much bigger than this physical server. This is volume. Data comes to you at a tremendous speed, that is velocity. And data comes to you in variety of formats, and that is variety. 1 minute. Yeah. So these are 3 V's of big data. Now, over the couple of years, while teaching big data, a lot of logical questions have come over, and I always thought that it would be a good idea to compile few logical questions and take them. So a lot of times the most common question is, big data is really clear, it's okay, we understand that it's a lot of volume, variety, and velocity, but how does this data look like? When can I see something and say, okay, this is big data? Well, the answer is that there is no defined answer to it. Big data is basically any data that is huge, and it can exist in virtually any format. It can be RFID system generated files, can be web logs, can be user interaction logs, user transaction history, can be user tweets, and even can be climate sensor data that could be stored in any format. So big data can be any data that is huge, gets generated really fast, and is in a format which isn't necessarily structured into rows and columns. Okay. Next question, what do we do with this data? Analyze it. So this is an easy answer, but the tough part is, what's the value in taking pain and analyzing this data? Okay. The point is, well, I have few terabytes of data, few hundred terabytes of data. Now, why do I buy servers? Why do I deploy new people? And why do I, take so much pain to analyze this data? Well, in this data lies golden nuggets of vital information that can give you real competitive advantage in the business. Take example of Amazon. Now, you explore something, just search for 2 Xbox games. After that, Amazon will throw you all the recommendations around Xbox games only, because system has figured out you are the guy who is interested in gaming. You have a baby boy, you buy diapers for him, and after that suddenly you see that all the products that you see around are for baby products, correct? So this is the place where you end up buying a lot of stuff that you never needed or you never imagined. Why? Because the system is throwing you recommendations and you end up buying things. So what we are talking about is serious dollar earning, okay? Because user never thought of something and is buying right now. Similarly, a lot of other use cases exist. This was one of it. And big data is being used by these companies in a very, very big and serious way. Next, can we have some use cases of analyzing big data? When data is huge, finding the customers who are most important on different parameters is something which a traditional database may not be able to do it for you, depending on the volume of data you have. Identifying the best time to perform a maintenance based on usage patterns. Now this is a very famous use case study of Rackspace, where they wanted to bring down their system for some time in every country for performing a maintenance. Now you want to perform maintenance when usage is really, really low, but how do you find out that time that, okay, this is the time when the usage is really, really low? So what they did, they took all the email logs and they analyzed it in Hadoop or big data, using some big data technology, and they figured out that in this country I can bring down the system for this much time. The third use case, very common, a lot of big companies are using this big data technologies to analyze what people are talking about them on the social sites, to make sure that they serve the customers in a better way. Next question, how can such huge data be analyzed? As the volume is beyond storage and the processing capability of a single physical machine, we need to have some distributed way of doing things, okay? There is some magic, some distributed way where one machine is not capable, we have to make multiple machines work together to do our job, correct? Now comes the real question, wait, distributed systems like MPI have been around for more than a decade. It's since our college days we've been listening about big distributed computing, and what are we talking new? So do we really need to take this course further, or does the world need another distributed system? Now the whole discipline of distributed computing has been existing for like 10-15 years now. So why do we build another distributed system? And is it really required to take so much pain? The answer is yes. The world certainly needs another distributed system. Let's see why. Now if you take a look at typical distributed system, okay, it has multiple app servers where your code will run, and you'll have one storage area network. You can visualize storage area network as one massive storage, that can virtually give you infinite storage. Now let's look at how this works. You have, let's say, 10 machines. You'll deploy your code on 10 machines, and each code on every machine would read, let's say, a terabyte of data, bring it to its own local machine, process the data and write the output, correct? So programs run on each app server. All the data is in storage area network. Before execution, each server gets data from storage area network, and after execution, each server writes the output to a storage area network. So this is how distributed systems have been existing for decades, and this is how they've been working. Now this approach has some problems, and that's why distributed systems have never become a household name. Few big companies, few big defense agencies, government agencies are using distributed computing, but otherwise it has never really taken off, or it has never really become a household name that you find hundreds of thousands of people working on it. So let's see why distributed computing hasn't really taken off. Now this typical distributed system had 5 major problems. There is a huge dependency on network and bandwidth. So you have 10 servers running or 100 servers running. Imagine each guy reading a terabyte of data, taking it locally, processing it and writing back the data. The amount of network bandwidth required will never be enough. I mean, it's like we can max go to, let's say, 1 gigabits per second or 10 gigabits per second, but network will always be the bottleneck. Scaling up and scaling down is not a smooth process. So take example that you as a programmer were writing a code and you are given a number that okay, your code will be running on 10 machines. Can I scale 10 to 1000 and expect the program to run identically without changing a simple thing? No. You will have to make some modifications to make sure that your code runs from, it was still yesterday running on 10 node and now it should be running on, let's say, 100 node. So basically adding servers or removing servers wasn't really a very smooth process. Partial failures were very difficult to handle. So if you're having a 100 node cluster, what if 88th node fails? It was you as a developer who had to really take care of this whole scenario. A lot of processing power is spent on transporting data. So you see this whole scenario and you are wasting most of your muscle power just transporting data from one place to another. Data synchronization is required during exchange. Now, to make sure that server 1 does not do something that server 88 was doing, each server needs to know what the other guy is doing. And that is another bottleneck where every server had to know what other guy is doing. So these were typical 5 problems with typical distributed system. And if you observe this, as a developer, you are doing so many things that don't help your business logic. See, as a developer, what you would really want to focus on is, okay, this is my goal from the program, let me do this. But along with this, you are taking care of what if something fails. Then you're taking care of, okay, what if scaling up has to happen? What if scaling down has to happen? I mean, there are so many concerns other than your program that you are taking in consideration. And that's why distributed systems never really took off. And now the world was in problem and we needed Spider-Man to come. And that's where Hadoop comes in. So far what we've seen is problems with typical distributed system. We saw what is a typical distributed system. We saw what is big data. We saw why big data needs your attention. So we've covered what is big data. And that's about the demo. The next topics eventually are what is Hadoop, the whole ecosystem and all. But yeah, we'll stop it here and take up the questions. So feel free to put your questions on chat box. We'll take them one by one. Okay. So we have question from Sharma which says do we really require Java background? Well, if you're an administrator, you don't require a Java background. If you want to know Hadoop, you still don't require a Java background. If you're a data warehousing guy, you still don't need a Java background because major of your work will be in Pig and Hive. But if you are someone who wants to be a hardcore developer of MapReduce programs in Hadoop, then you need Java background. So to simply put it, anybody who is in for administration, anybody who's in for data warehousing, anybody who's in for typical data ETL kind of stuff, you don't need Java at all. Somebody who wants to be a machine learning guy may require Java. Yeah, so we have Vikas asking, does the training have okay, let's just go one by one so that we don't miss any question. Let's start from the beginning. So we had a question from Raghu to start with, which was, would you please explain about Hadoop certification? Sure. So let me quickly tell you about Hadoop certification. So there are basically two major Hadoop certifications. Okay, first is, okay, there are two major, first let's talk about, there are two major Hadoop vendors when it comes to certification. Okay, Cloudera and Hortonworks. So these are two authorities who let you get certified. Now, we as a training company, we don't recommend any of them. Basically, the idea is you can choose whatever you want. So we don't have preference for anyone. Choose anyone that you feel comfortable with. So we don't have any preferences as to know you should choose one over the other. Now, the idea is majorly the certifications are of two types. One, there is Hadoop developer certification, and second you have Hadoop administration certification. Okay, so the developer certification would need you to be strong at basically what is Hadoop, Hadoop ecosystem, MapReduce, Pig and Hive, advanced development concepts. So you need to be good at this stuff. As an administrator, you need to be good at what is Hadoop, Hadoop ecosystem. Then you will have cluster setup, cluster planning, scheduling, and cluster monitoring. So these are the topics that will be of real interest to you from the certification perspective. Okay, and let's talk about, so I think somebody also had a question that what will be covered from the certification perspective in the course. Basically, the course teaches you both the concepts clearly, and the test helps you getting what you call, the test helps you getting, you know, accustomed to what kind of, you know, certification would be. But my strong recommendation is please play with the system for at least 2 months before targeting a certification. The reason is simple. Most questions can need, most questions may be scenario based. So yeah, honestly, nobody would be able to claim to you that, okay, you know what, you take our course and without doing even a single hands-on exercise or without working a bit on it, go ahead and write the test. Please don't do that. The test is expensive. It can be in the tunes of $300 for Cloudera and $150 for Hortonworks. So make sure that you work before you, you know, really target for certification. So this was about certification. We'll cover that in detail in the course again. So hope I have answered the question of certification. Now I have some other question which says, just a minute, let me see what is the question. So the question is from Mohammed, which says, what background do we need for Hadoop? I think it's the other way. Basically, based on your background, you will have more takeaways from that. So if you're an administrator, you can easily pick up Hadoop administration, which is a hot market. If you're a ETL, data warehouse, BI guy, Pig and Hive will be of great interest. If you are a Java dev, MapReduce programming will be of big interest. So it actually depends on what is your background, and based on that what will be your takeaway. Now if you're a guy who's an administrator, you will certainly learn administration in the course, and if you're an ETL and Java guy, you will still be able to pick up administration topics because they are not really so too complex to understand. At the same time, if you're from admin and data warehousing background, MapReduce is still fun to understand. You may not work on it, but it's still fun to understand. So there is everything for everyone in here, and it really depends on how you want to take it. Okay. Now, Sandeep says, can you touch on Tejas, Flume and Ambari in your course? Well, I cannot promise you, but yeah, on day 18th or 19th, we'll certainly have some time, and that time we will surely talk about Tejas, Ambari and Flume. By the way, Flume, we already have a exercise on Flume. So we already have a hands-on exercise here. Yeah, so all right, so we have one question which says, after we complete the course, what all should we do to basically enhance our value in the market from the job perspective? So the answer is straightforward. Play with Hadoop for 1 month. That is, do small POCs, and you will be ready for the hot job market. Because most of the questions that typically people ask in interview will be anyways covered during the class. Hands-on for a month or two, a POC would help you getting closer to questions like, okay, how do you start a project, how do you estimate something, how do you validate data, and all that stuff. So the idea would be take up any course that you want. Along with that, another 2 months, if you could do one POC in your spare time, you are all set for your next job change, which is, let's say, much better than what you are having right now. So that will be the goal, I think, for everyone. Now we have another question which says, can we install Hadoop on your local machine? You don't need to do that because why install on your local? I'll give you a VM which is CentOS VM, and you can install everything on that. Got it? So now the advantage of this is, after the course, if you're doing some hands-on and you mess up something, okay, you can always ask me, shoot me an email, but in case you've done something which is irreversible, it is very easy to just right click, delete the virtual machine and download it again from the place which I'll give you. So having a VM is much cleaner option than installing it on your local box. But it's your choice. If you want to do that, yeah, you are welcome to do that. But VM is a cleaner way of doing things. So along with that, which version of Hadoop we are going to use in our this thing? See, we don't have any recommendation, but because we have a better documentation on Cloudera CDH4, we'll be using CDH4 as the version for what you call in this class. Then we have a question which says, what kind of hardware setup do we need to set up on Hadoop? See, as of the class goes or the hands-on exercises, you just need a laptop with 4 GB of RAM, and that should be good. Okay. In a cluster, what is required in your production, that I will be telling it in week number 2. Okay, so second week we'll be talking about that. So someone says Hadoop is open source. What is IBM Big Data? Is there any contribution from Cloudera or Hortonworks? So see, Linux is open source, and Red Hat basically takes Linux. It provides support around Linux, and that's how they make money. Similarly, Hadoop is open source, and guys like Cloudera and Hortonworks are basically providing consulting and implementation around Hadoop, and this is how they are making money. So Cloudera and Hortonworks are like what Red Hat is to Linux. What is IBM Big Data? Now, big data is a raw technology. Okay, lot of companies are now using that in their own products inbuilt. So you take IBM Big Data, it's a product that you install, and Hadoop is installed for you directly, and it is internally using Hadoop. A lot of new products like Greenplum and Oracle Exadata also is exploring the option of having Hadoop inside them. I'm not sure whether, I think they've even launched them, but yeah. So a lot of companies are packaging Hadoop as an integral part of their products. So we have another question that is from someone who says, will there be a corporate role as both developer and administrator? Yes, it can be. Depends on how you position yourself. If it's a startup where they cannot afford a separate administrator, you can certainly pitch in yourself as someone who can develop as well as administrator the cluster of, let's say, a 50 node or 100 node. So it will really boil down to whether you are able to convey someone that you can wear multiple hats. That's about it, nothing more. If I want to be data architect and data analyst, which tools will help us achieve that? You'll have to first understand basic Hadoop and all that technologies. Want to be serious data scientist, you know, the language that you need to really know is R, which is data statistics analysis. And the other thing that you need to know is Apache Mahout, which is basically a machine learning software. So Apache Mahout and R are two things that you will be needing. Somebody says, how is general project of Hadoop be? How will it have Hadoop admin BI guys, developers involved in the project? So Hadoop, let's say we have a 100 node cluster, the administrator will manage that. The business guys are the one who basically do the report generation and tell what else they need in the report, and the developers are one who work towards writing those programs for reporting. So that's how this whole project gets orchestrated. Do we need strong background of Linux to be a Hadoop admin? Certainly it will really help. You don't have to be a guru in it, but certainly the better you know Linux in this thing, administration will become easier for you. So Hadoop is the only tool for solving big data problem, or are there any competitors? As of now, there is no commercial competitor who can say I'm competing with Hadoop, because all the big companies like, let's say, Oracle, Microsoft, they have decided to use Hadoop in their products. So they are not developing a competitor, but they are using Hadoop in their own products. So if you see, Azure has started Hadoop on cloud. So now you can go to Microsoft website and buy, let's say, 2 instances where Hadoop is running by default. But otherwise, there isn't a direct commercial competitor that says, hey, I'm better than Hadoop. Somebody asked which area has more openings. Honestly, the answer is that depending on your background. If you are a guy who's already worked on business intelligence, data warehousing, getting to Pig and Hive, and then positioning yourself as somebody who's a big data, you know, architect kind of a guy who can do BI around it, is the one. If you're a Linux administrator, Hadoop administration is the one which will have more openings for you. And if you're a developer, then it's developer. So basically all three openings are there. What will really take you to that level is your previous background plus, let's say, you know, a knowledge of Hadoop in the dimension of your interest, and you will certainly have a job, because all three markets are hot: the administration, the developer, and even the BI guys who have Hadoop knowledge. So a lot of companies are now looking for BI guys with Hadoop knowledge. So is there something, okay, so we have another question. Which tool will be used to program MapReduce? Yes, the virtual machine has it. To program MapReduce, we use Java, and Eclipse is already installed in the virtual machine. So don't worry about it. Is there any concept called data architect? I am a BI guy. Yes, there is a concept of data architect. Basically, these are guys who, you know, typically in an enterprise, they do ETL, they do source system analysis, and source system analysis plus transformation with Hadoop is slightly different, and that's where you need a data architect. So the real goal here would be your data coming from multiple sources, like your RDBMS, your data coming from you know, Twitter, Facebook, and all that. how do you go about mixing and matching that, and how your data will look like, and creation of data mart is where a data architect does, and this is how you go about it. Are there any other courses on big data you offer supporting this course? This course contains both administration and development in detail. So typically the courses we cover is of 2 weeks, but this course has 4 weeks because we are covering everything in this. So along with that, yeah, there isn't something called advanced course that we take because all the topics are covered in depth for you. Okay, somebody asks, what is the billing rate per hour for Hadoop administrator? Just a rough ballpark figure. Somebody working in the United States would be able to, tell you that. Unfortunately, I'm not aware of that. So I am an administrator, ETL, data engineer, BI, or Java dev. I'm a business analyst. So I don't have background to learn Java. Not exactly. The idea is this. BI, anybody who's a business analyst is a guy who's in best position to be a data scientist. Okay, if there is an inclination. The idea is this. So your company will have money to set up clusters. It will have developers to write programs. It will have a lot of what do you call developers to do the code, and it will have a lot of ETL guys. But the real question is, what do you do with this data? How do you basically make it actionable? So it's the BA and the data scientist kind of guys who tell, okay, we have this data, let's ask this question to see what is the answer. Okay, so maybe, okay, hypothetical example. You know what, we've been seeing that, okay, all the products that we are having on this shelf are selling faster than the other shelf, correct? Now let's say a data scientist is a guy who's a curious animal, who just asks these questions and then goes back to data and say, okay, you provide me this data and I'll do some analysis and tell you. And maybe the data scientist will come and say, you know what, this particular shelf is on the eye level of a user and it's an entry point, so user easily catches the eye. Okay, so that's how the data scientist plays a role. And if you are from a business analysis background and you learn data science, that will make you a hot cake basically. But yeah, having said that, there is no promise that it's going to be an easy ride. Business analysts are guys who really understand business well, but you'll also need to have knowledge of statistics as to how do you derive to something. So that is something which is tough part, and you'll have to learn it basically if you're looking for a. So yeah, there is no easy route to it. In fact, there is no easy route for anybody in any way anyways. Okay, so now I have another question. Will the training allow participants to come up? Yeah, we've already, so there is a mini project kind of a thing which we will be doing. And along with that, I'll share some ideas of the POCs which you guys can take over and do it yourself. Yeah. Then anybody else? Are there any, which tool we've already taken that? Billing rate. All right. So if there is any question which I haven't answered, just put it again so that in case I have Okay, somebody says the project which we do as part of the course, will it be full-fledged project which we can add to the resume? No, you cannot. No. So in a 20-day course of, let's say, 90 minutes to 2 hours, putting something on resume would be certainly risky unless you've really got your hands dirty. So to some extent, yes, but then about that, you would be really risking it if you're not able to answer. So if you're not able to answer questions in your interview, then it will appear slightly awkward. So my suggestion would be that complete the course, take up a small POC if you want, and complete that, and then put that on your resume, and try all the scenarios. Because see, the idea is, the more curious you are, the more errors you will get, and the more learning you will have, and the easier you will be clearing the interview. So my suggestion would be that complete the course, do a POC for a month or two, and then start hunting for your next big opportunity where you can put that POC as your something in your resume. And the course will back you up in answering a lot of questions because we'll cover everything in depth. So, you know, it will make, the course will give you deep breadth, and a POC will give you real, you know, what you call deep insight into how you do something which can be easily put on your, what do you call, resume. Now, any more questions? Yeah, feel free to, you know, basically put an email to Satish on info@techtrainings.com and schedule, start date, end date, commercials, anything that is there. Satish is the man to, you know, take care of that. Yeah, if I've missed any question,
I've got a question.
yeah, please go ahead, Srini.
Because what is the best path for Oracle DBAs? Like what we either admin? I think we are not neither admins nor developers. Looks like, right? This Hadoop. So what is best for Oracle DBAs?
Oracle DBA,
Yeah.
Administration would suit you slightly better. So one is administration, not in terms of cluster setup, but along with that, creation of the data mart.
Okay.
So those kind of things. But having said that, there isn't a straight seat inside which says, okay, I'm an Oracle DBA. Now what next for me? So the database administration would, you know, need some more effort on becoming to go to the administration part. But you can become that basically a Hadoop administrator.
What are the job availability for admins? Like, are there many number of jobs? Because I haven't seen many Hadoop admins. Most of the jobs I've seen in job portals, they are more for developers. Like, you know, they're asking Java, Pig, Hive, and this kind of thing. So I haven't seen many admin jobs. So is it the jobs will be like combination admin and developer, or just a developer? What is the situation?
Yeah. So see, the idea is this. Honestly, the idea is this. Okay. So let's say you are an Oracle DBA plus you know about Hadoop in terms of administration and development, but you are, let's say, not a guy who's a pro at development. Okay. Now, when you are cracking an interview, the idea is always to show, basically how I see it that way, that I understand Oracle, I'm an Oracle DBA who understands Hadoop from the administration part and understands a bit of development world. So I have complete visibility of how Hadoop works, and I can be fit for Oracle administration, Hadoop administration role along with Oracle. Now, the idea is this. See, typically how this whole stack work, I'll tell you. Stack works. I'll tell you that, and then you know, you can find where you fit in. But having said that, it is you who will have to position yourself. So I wanted to show one slide. Satish, if you can quickly make me the presenter, I want to just show one small slide which will tell you where you exactly fit in. Let me know if you guys are able to see my screen. I wanted to share something. Yeah. So. So I'll tell you, this is where Hadoop fits in, and you'll have to basically see this. So this is where Hadoop typically fits in an enterprise. See, typical enterprise, we are not getting into details of it. Typically, you'll have your web servers and all your data comes to an OLTP. Then there is a magical ETL process which every company does in their own way, and the data goes to OLAP. Okay, and then you have reporting tools. Okay, how it works for Hadoop is same. Now, this is your E, where you are extracting data from OLTP, tweets, Facebook posts, and weblogs. It all gets to Hadoop cluster for something called as T, correct? And then you do L. Now, if I was you, what I would probably do is position myself as someone who can manage the OLTP, the OLAP, and someone who has in-depth knowledge of Hadoop. So being, let's say, an Oracle DBA, I will not want to purely position myself in the market as, hey, I'm an Hadoop admin or a Hadoop developer. I would probably position myself as someone who can do Oracle perfectly along with Hadoop. So, I think it's the way you position yourself more than anything else. But, it's up to the person how you want to go about it. You get the point, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, if I missed any questions, you can have that email from Satish and shoot me an email. I shall certainly respond to you by today itself. So yeah, feel free to ask any questions that you have on an email. I think we have a lot of questions. If I missed a couple of them, please feel free to shoot me an email and I shall certainly respond to it.
One last question, Ravi. Since how long this Hadoop is in the market? Like 3-4 years or?
Yeah, in United States, it's been there for 4-5 years now, and it's really caught up in India past 15 months. But in US, it's been there for 5 years now. Yeah.
Okay, Ravi, thanks for the demo. If any other questions, please feel free to talk with Ravi.
Yeah.
If not, we'll end the session today.
Yeah. Just shoot an email to Satish and any questions that I have, I'll make sure that before I call it a day, I'll answer your questions. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining, everyone. Good night. Bye-bye.
Thanks.